channel. My name is Cristina and this is Knitting Books etc. Today is the 1st of May and I am just going to mention the books I read in April. So I started by reading Slaughterhouse 5, which was a buddy read, if you want, with some people like CodeX Cantina, Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, and Christy Lewis, and they just did the final and the first, the live about this. So this is a unique novel about war. So I have mixed feelings about it, because first I thought that we were going to the main point of the book, or at least what the author says, that made him decide to write this book, and that it took him a long time to do it, is the fact that he was a prisoner of war in the Second World War and was in Dresden when Dresden was completely destroyed by the Allies' bombing. He mentions, which is something I didn't know, that this destruction was far more serious than, for example, the destruction of Hiroshima. And so I was expecting perhaps more details, more information about the city itself and what happened to the city and the aftermath of this destruction, and that's not what we have here. We have a kind of tragic comedy, if you want, about war and the evils of war, and that is very present. So I think it's effective in the way that he shows how awful war is, but it was not what I was expecting. I love this edition. This is the 50th anniversary edition, and it has lots of images here of the writings of the author, and it's very it's a lovely edition. Okay, so this was my first read of this month. Then I'm just going to check here on my Goodreads what else I read. Oh, then I read the first of the Cosmic Trilogy by C.S. Lewis, the Space Trilogy. I have heard it called the Cosmic Trilogy, but here they call it the Space Trilogy, and there are 3 books: Out of the Silent Planet, Perilandra, and then That Hideous Strength. And the first 2 books, the first book, it was a very light read. I read it in 2 sittings, and it's an adventure. Our main character ends up in Mars, and then several things ensue, but there is a very religious aspect of these books, at least these first 2. In the second one, we are Perilandra. The same main character this time is in Venus, which is called Perilandra, and we in a way are shown and told about the creation of the world. We have a new Adam and a new Eve, and I'm not going to tell you everything, but there's several interesting aspects in this book. It's the second one, much denser than the first one. So the first one was quite a light read. This one, no, this one had a lot of things, and it's a book that I need to reread to reflect on everything he mentions here. But this would be a good book for to read now in May, for the maybe Midrash, and I will be reading the third book now in May. So I read the two first books. Then my reading was interrupted by a gift, and I was given this book by Kate Howe, and it's a Brother Catfail adventure. It's the second one in the series, which has, I think, 20 books, and it's a mystery series. So the interesting thing is that it's the setting is the 1100s, I think, and the main character, so the detective, if you want, is sorry, is Benedictine monk, and who lives in a monastery near by the river Severn. He's actually Welsh, but the monastery is in England. And so I had already read, I think, 2 or 3, but I would like to read the first one, which I haven't. This is the second one, and to continue reading in order. It's a very nice and it's an easy read, but it's nice, and at the same time I like to see how people lived at the time and all the things that happen, even politics. This is during the civil war between King Stephen and the Empress Maud, and quite interesting. And it was a surprise. So again, I read it in 2 sittings, and I wasn't expecting to read it. Then I read a book I have not in physical format. I have it in digital format, in ebook, and it was Adam Bede by George Eliot. So I am participating in the Readalong Eliot 2021 that is organized by Kim from middle of the book March, and so they are reading several of Eliot's novels. I had only read Middlemarch last year, or 2019, I think, and now we read Adam Bede, and I have to say that I loved Adam Bede, the book. I loved the setting, the country. It's a very, for me at least, it was a sunny book. And so the setting, the people, the characters, there are a bunch of characters, and they are all so interesting, and many of them are very good people. So it was also nice to see that. And it was so nice that although the story has suffering and tragedy even, and but it's for me it's a positive book. There's also there's something which I like very much, is that people who work well and try. The main character, for example, Adam Bede, was a very good professional in his area, and actually in other areas that then he is also employed at, and the fact that he likes and to work well, it's something that I like very much to see. I like to see people that in a way grow themselves and develop themselves, elevate themselves by the way they perform. So for him, and it was a way, for example, of praying to God the way he worked. very interesting. And so what happened to me is that I felt bereft when I finished the book, because I wanted to continue talking with these people. Every character is very interesting. Some are grumpy, some are good people. There's a character which is always knitting, which I appreciate very much. So I am looking forward now to continue reading George Eliot. But this was I can say that it was a surprise as how much I enjoyed the book. And let me see if I finished anything else. I finished a book which I don't have it in physical form either, but I actually think I want to. And this book is, let me show you the image. It's a graphic novel, Science and Faith. I think I already mentioned this here. So I read it very quickly. I started when I was in hospital, and then when I came back the following day, I finished it. And it is a book that I want again to reread more calmly, but it is the main end of the book is to show how science and faith are not opposites. On the contrary, they coexist, and they coexist well. And this was a book that was it's the text of the book is by two Italian professors, but it was adapted to English and as a graphic novel by Tom L.A. Books from the channel. Tom from the channel Tom L.A. Books. So a very nice read as well. And so this was my April, and now I was even yesterday and the day before yesterday looking at my list of books for May, and I must tell you that I decided, and I will be talking about my TBR for May in another video, because for now what I'm doing is that I am eliminating books that I was supposed to read, and I decided that I have to not read them now. Not that I don't want to read them, but I'm not going to read them now, because I was almost with 16 buddy reads and read-alongs. An insane thing, especially for a person like me that likes to read what they call it, a moody read, isn't it? That fancy to read a book that out of nowhere. So although I make my plans, I like to read other things that are not planned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to progressively reduce my buddy reads and read-alongs and to a maximum of 3 per month, and then everything else is going to be free, my own plans. But for now I still have some more. I also forgot to say that I didn't finish, but I am doing well with my reading of War and Peace. According to plan, I already read. So what did I read? Where am I? I am here. I am going to start let me see. I'm going to start volume 3. So this book is divided in, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 volumes, and let me see, let me check here. So 4 volumes and an epilogue which has several parts. So, and I am now on page 603, which is the beginning of the 3rd volume. So I'm halfway through. So I'm enjoying the book. although it's a kind of a we jump around a bit. We have the book actually has war, it's war and peace. So we have war scenes, we have peace scenes, but also some characters are present here and they disappear and then they reappear later. So it's we are and time is also going by. So we are seeing several families in all this context of politics and war, and even I didn't know this actually. I knew that there was a war between Napoleon and the Russians, for example, but I didn't know that they sometimes were fighting against each other, sometimes they were united against the Prussians, sometimes they were with the Austrians and they were against the French. So it's actually an interesting portrait of the times, beginnings of the 19th century in Europe. So I am enjoying the book very much. There are certain parts which sometimes I think, why are we now reading about this? Like, for example, there's a hunting scene here, but still a book to read and then reread again. What I am noticing for myself, the same happened here with this book here, which I feel is actually there are two books here which for me I call them my Egyptians, because I found it very funny that Yere from the channel Drawn to Stories, for some time he was always showing a large book, big book about called The Egyptian. I think it was about Akhenaten, but I don't remember. But he was forever showing him, and when one day he didn't, I even wrote in a comment that I missed The Egyptian. And so these two are in a way my Egyptian, because I started reading them I think in February, and I am almost at the end of this one. And the reason why they are taking time, it's because I took upon me to read so many books. So I need, both books are excellent and I am enjoying them very much, but again, now I'm going to finish them, but then I will reread them at my own pace, because I think that this is, for example, this book has lots of things like theology, moral ideas, there's a murder, so there's so many things here, and I think that it's a book to read slowly. So I will be returning to this, but for now I'm going to continue, and I hope to read even this weekend. I think I will be finished with this one, and then I will finish this one. So this is all for now, because I don't want to make a very long video, and I will be back to tell you about what I'm going to read and what I'm going not to read in May. Until then, bye.